King James Version, where each and every week my friends Alan and Adam recount Bible stories from their childhoods to me. I've never heard them before. I am Nick.
I'm Alan.
I'm Adam.
So, I feel like I always say, I'm excited this week, you guys.
I really want to eat more taffy. There's
excited
taffy right in front of me, and I really want to eat more of it.
It's
I won't.
the worst podcast candy.
Sorry.
Taffy, yeah.
It's not great.
I'm going to go with I'm trepidatious this week.
Okay.
As this is a story that is very short, and I know the story, but that's it. So
It's kind of a weird one because in my mind, it's a big, huge story. But I think when I was talking to you, Alan, earlier this week, it was just incredibly short in the Bible.
Yeah, it's 9 verses. So, Nick, today we are doing the story of the Tower of Babel. Babel?
I would
I've always
say
said Babel.
Babel.
I always say things differently than you guys, but I don't know anything.
Babel, I would actually say Babel is probably a better...
I would not be surprised if the word Babel...
Isn't it of or related to Babylon?
No.
Oh.
Yes.
No. I would say so. I would actually say that Babel, the word that we use in English, is a derivative of
B-A-B-B-L-E.
is a derivative of Babel.
Because it's a language thing, right? Is that the Tower of Babel?
I mean,
Yeah,
What do you
nailed
know? What do you know?
I have some vague notion that the tower, I don't know. I feel like this is
where Tower Records came from.
Yeah. This sets up, this is early on, right? This is like a
Super
creation
early.
myth.
Yeah.
It's just post flood.
Okay. So this is supposed to explain why people speak different languages, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the purpose of this myth.
Yeah. That's what I know. I don't know anything about the tower. I feel like there's a lot of very cool art of the tower.
Totally. A lot of spiraling up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Never
excited.
ladders. Always a big spiral.
Yes.
True.
The Bible says before the tower, everyone spoke the same language,
Okay.
which they said was, some sort of Hebrew, but was probably,
Not.
Esperanto.
Oh yeah, for sure.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
weirdly.
Yeah, like you never would have expected Esperanto, but it was Esperanto.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So should I just jump in?
Yeah, I guess. Let's bang out them 9 verses.
All right. So
Verse 1, go.
Yeah. So essentially, just post flood. Well, not just post. I mean, like they've populated enough that there's people.
Quite a few. Enough to build a giant ass tower.
I want to say it's like it was always kind of thrown out there as like only like a generation after, but it's got to be more than that because people couldn't pop out babies fast. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's soon after.
Like with the other like kind of side stories around it, it's like 3.
Okay.
Yeah, like a level. It's like a Noah's great grandchildren.
Yeah, I don't know. In my brain, there's like hundreds of people there, which wouldn't.
Oh, I bet
functionally
there's like
make sense.
thousands.
Right. So tons and tons and tons of like. It's insinuated that's literally all the people in the world because
And they're all related.
right because of the flood.
Right.
Like you've got that minimal pool, and this is where they're starting from. And the idea is
Thank
essentially
God for Noah's vineyard.
yeah.
Yeah. Seriously.
The idea is that they're kind of getting their heads that they're terrified that God will go back on his word and destroy the world again with a flood.
Okay.
And so like, we're going to make sure that can't happen. Well, that we can survive should that ever happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a tower to
yeah.
get above the floodwaters.
Great.
It's a great idea.
Something big
Super.
enough that all of us can be above the floodwaters, and we're just going to keep going.
Yep.
And they build and build and build. And I don't know, there's one of these things where like, I don't remember in the story how it's told to them that God is not pleased with this plan.
Oh, because they're trying to outsmart God.
Right. Which kind of like,
It just says the Lord came down.
okay.
You
So
know.
basically he's just not happy with this thing. And
The way it says it, it's like the booming, like, I'm not happy.
Sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Like it says, and the Lord said
I ain't happy.
to everyone at once, I guess.
And yes. And so what he
Amber
does,
alert.
Right. His,
Yeah, everyone's phone went off.
yeah. But what he ended up doing is they said he confused the languages. So basically everybody just started speaking different languages all at the same time and not in understanding anybody else. So it's as if your brain just did an instant, switch to, somebody was speaking Italian, somebody was speaking,
Yeah. Yeah.
like everything just flipped. And the tower's abandoned. And because no one can speak to each other. And then and this is also, I believe, like scatters at this point, like literally goes with like finds the 3 people who speak your language, and then you go in a direction.
You just walk up to somebody and start saying something. Nope.
Yep. I don't know what you're saying, but then like, oh, hello. I know that guy. And then you guys,
Let's leave.
right. And then you guys booked it. And this is at least as a child was told, like, this is how like different cultures all over the world happened. And so this is why like all of the like the Asian countries didn't hear about Jesus and Judeo-Christian because they were like pushed out at this point.
So was the tower like built, or this project was like abandoned?
Abandoned.
Partially
They
built.
set down their shovels and just started yelling like, hello,
Right.
hello.
I mean, like in the illustrations in the books that I remember, it was like 5-6 stories.
So we're going to get into a bunch of different size estimations.
But you know what I mean?
Because it is
course.
all over the place.
Would you, Alan, agree that like that's kind of like the visual of what was presented?
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna. Are we going to say that like one ring of the Spiral Road is a story?
Yeah.
I'm going to say like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So, and from
Which is preposterous.
I don't know if we went over this, but from the Noah story, do we know how high the flood was? Like how high would this tower have had to have been?
No, we
Okay.
don't.
Okay.
But presumably taller than taller than Mount Everest.
Yeah, it's a good question. I will go back and look that up and let you know after break.
Great.
Yeah. So this is the scattering. My question is like, what if like one of the languages was just 3 dudes? Which
Right.
means they
Just
couldn't
died out?
Yeah, they couldn't procreate. So
Yeah,
like
right.
that they're done.
Uh-huh.
There's just 3 dudes in a cave,
Yep.
and then they all died.
The first incels.
Yes. Yes. All wearing fedoras, just running around.
And I mean,
God didn't make any women speak our language. I hate them so much.
it's not very specific how many languages.
Yeah.
No. And it's
Like, was this all the different Chinese dialects? Right here.
I would say it's like the mother, like the insinuation, at least from what I got, was it was like the mother tongue of like
Right.
a Germanic language,
It's
a Latin language,
but not
a
Pig
Chinese
Latin.
language, but you know, like it's like the one like root of all the different dialects.
Sure.
And so also obviously right here would have been when Pangea broke apart.
Well,
Because this is how people in the language got South America.
but theoretically, Pangea was the flood.
No, it was still shifting after the flood.
I mean, like
I'm trying to like justify
All it
this
needed
together.
was those
None
3
of this
guys
is
to
real.
walk over that plate for
Right.
it to break
exactly.
off.
Oh, there they go. See ya.
Yeah, we're in like so many levels of none of this is real.
I mean, this is the closest, I think, in weirdly as a story, this and the flood are the 2 that in my brain as a kid got closest to myth.
Sure.
I don't know if Alan, you agree with that.
Well,
Like,
is this, I mean, this is one that is not a parable, but that doesn't have like named people, like named characters.
correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's super short.
It's kind of
I don't know.
interesting 'cause before this, you have basically a litany. You have the Garden of Eden. You have the fall of the Garden of Eden. You have a list of people who lived for 900 plus years, and then you have the flood. Then you have this, and then basically
Abraham?
nothing. Yeah, Abraham until Abraham.
I will say that I was raised that every story in the Bible was actual fact.
Factual.
100%.
This is just one where like the story had like mythical in my brain. I think I would agree to the point of like the teachers were teaching it as a fact, but in my brain, like they were missing key details of like people's lives because like there are no named characters. They're just
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous of that because I, have being young and needing this to be 100% true. Like it would have been nice to have that wiggle room in my brain and been like, oh, this one's just more of a story.
right.
So
I also
yeah.
should say that like my Adam's childhood brain like just also considered all myths to be true. Just like,
Of course.
like details removed, but like Hercules totally existed.
Well, and this is the type of thing that I think I say this when we, did the parable episodes, but like, this is more what, as somebody who is not familiar at all with the Bible, this is what I imagine most of the Bible to be like. And that's why we have this,
Right.
or, like these
like
kind of myths.
Pillars of salt and like
Sure, like these small epic stories that
Yeah, and that's why we have salt.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Lot's wife.
You know,
that's definitely the moral of that story.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
The creation of salt.
Yep.
It's not used by churches everywhere to condemn homosexuality.
Not at all.
It's used to explain salt.
The Morton Corporation would not exist.
No,
had Lot's wife never looked back.
It's the explanation of why sea salt is the best salt.
Oh, that's what the girl with the umbrella is.
Oh, she's shielding herself so she can look back.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh. That's
Yeah,
some.
that's actually Lot's wife.
God, that's some good like.
Is she the
like
one
conspiracy theory
whose
shit.
underwear is also being like pulled down by a dog or something?
That's a copper
That's
tone.
sunscreen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some weird sunscreen. It's just full of salt. Yeah, rub that on.
I mean, like zinc would kind of feels like that, like the zinc only.
So I demand further explanation. So
I have pages of interesting to me tidbits.
I've got a couple conspiracy theories too. so-
Wonderful. Let's take a break and head back to conspiracy theories and answers. Right here on the King James Version. And we're back here on the King James Version.
So I want to hear those conspiracy theories. Like I have a lot of like fun Bible facts, but I'm in it for the conspiracy
Yeah, me
theories.
too.
So this is a doozy, and this was a friend of my dad's who like.
Oh, I thought you were going to own these conspiracy theories.
Oh, I'd love to own them, but no, I need to give like credit where credit's due sort of situation. But no, my dad is this friend who retired crazy young and spent his time doing like conspiracy theory, Bible-y crossover shit.
Yeah.
And so this one was essentially.
It's what we're all excited to do in retirement.
Exactly.
Yeah, duh.
Essentially, the idea was that pre-flood, humans used a significantly larger portion of their brain. And so we were much smarter and much more advanced technologically. And that what the flood was destroying was not really like moral depravity, but a technological, like we exploded too far. We like overreached. And the idea is that, I don't know, Nick, if you remember that one of the key things about the flood is that it never rained before the flood.
Right. Yeah.
So the reason it rained, there was this protective barrier around the earth that kept.
Wait, like technology?
No, that there was that God had put in a protective barrier that would keep rain from falling, and that what we'd actually created was an air or a space station, and we had pierced it by launching a rocket and broke this like barrier, and that's why rain began to fall for the first time in
This
human
is
history.
not where I thought this was
Holy
going.
shit.
Okay, so with that in mind.
Well, there's more?
Yes. So
That's just the groundwork that we all have to agree on
This
to
is so
understand
much
the
more
next part.
bananas than I expected.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, because I grew up hearing the whole technology thing, but you've gone so much past that.
I should say and part of this is a little not off topic, but you needed that for the rest of the conspiracy about the Tower of Babel. But like the moral depravity that God was also wiping out was like interspecies genetic research.
Oh.
Like, did you get that as well?
Well, in the Bible, it's like having sex with angels
Sure, why not?
and making giants.
But like,
So the Bible is fantasy, and you're taking it sci-fi.
right, exactly.
Great.
I'm not.
Right,
This,
yeah.
This friend is, or my dad's friend, and so the idea is essentially that that we were creating these splicey type monsters, and that's
Like
that's
the island of Dr. Moreau.
like the island of Dr. Moreau, and the idea is like that's why that's why we needed the animals on the ark in order to like repurify.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and this is and the dinosaur bones that we're getting were essentially like
tests?
Yes.
Whoa.
Okay. And this is his like sci-fi pitch, or like he like did this quasi research and believed it?
It was in more of like hey, here's a crazy idea. What do you think about this? Like, I don't think he believed it in the sense of
I see.
It was
Yeah.
more of like, what
Let's see if you can poke any holes in this one.
Right. Just also knowing him that he kind of like approached life that way.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, they fucked off to like they lived in Costa
went on
Rica
to be Stephen
and
King.
then Panama because they wanted to didn't want to pay taxes and that kind of people.
I mean, this makes all like the second shooter grassy knoll stuff so tame.
Right. So how this applies to Babel is that
Still not there.
Oh, right.
they were not building a tower to get above it. The idea was that they were building a launch pad for a rocket.
Oh, like a Zeppelin docking station?
More along the lines of like a
Now you've gone steampunk.
yeah.
Okay.
More along the lines. I mean, his is like
Or
was
just
more
like actual Empire State Building.
right. The idea was like they were actually going to launch to get out of the atmosphere.
Okay.
So that if God ever decided to destroy the world with a flood, they could literally like take the shuttle up and like circle around the earth, wait for the floods to recede and come back down. Wow. And the reason that he had to disrupt this was like, same reasons. Like, I guess it's the same reasons. Sure. Like, we can't have them doing that. And so, and I want to say this might be telling tales out of school, but I feel like there was like, it's that thing, the thing, Alan, where like they think they found the Ark on Mount Ararat.
Totally.
And like there'd be like satellite images of
Definitely.
like, look at that square that looks like it's
like a cigar.
Right.
Shape.
It was like that idea where like, here's another piece of, in the middle of Jordan or something like that, where, we can't get to for political reasons. There is what looks like a launch pad.
Oh,
anyway, that's the conspiracy theory that I thought I'd throw out there. Loved it as a kid.
I mean, I love it now. Dude. It's a more compelling story than the 9 verses we just tackled. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, so I've got some details, but
Great.
like I also feel like I just want to quit.
Yeah.
I want the details.
Okay, so there's a bunch of different. Let's start with height, since you were just talking about like getting up in the atmosphere.
And I had questions.
Great. So I probably don't have answers.
No, I asked the question already.
Oh, right. So the Book of Genesis does not mention how tall it is.
Okay.
The Bible does not have a height. So there's the Book of Jubilees. Don't ask me what that is. It puts the height at 8,150 feet.
That is more than a few
quite
stories.
tall. The third apocalypse of Baruch.
And that's when it was abandoned.
Yes.
Correct.
Let me say that name again. The third apocalypse of Baruch.
Yeah.
If that doesn't sell books,
good.
Titles are useless.
Puts the Tower of Strife height at 695 feet.
Wait, how many?
695 feet.
That's a significantly shorter building.
A 17th century historian says the tower was 4.7 miles high.
Okay. I mean,
or 5,000.
No,
Hold on. Or 5,164 paces high. For those Spider-Men among us.
Also, at that point, they would have
does Spider-Man pace up buildings?
Well, he could.
Okay, yeah.
Also, at that height, they would be needing oxygen.
Well, let's get to that. He also said the spiral path was so wide it contained lodgings for workers and animals.
Okay.
Which would make sense if it was that fucking tall.
Yeah.
Let's go with it.
Yeah.
So then this Professor J.E. Gordon, he did some mathematical calculations.
Got a middle initial.
He wrote that brick and stone weigh about 120 pounds per cubic foot. The crushing strength is 6,000 pounds. So a tower with parallel walls could have been built the height of 1.3 miles before the bottom bricks
shattered.
Or
just like powdered.
However, if they made tapered walls, as we've seen in the
ziggurats,
in all the images we've seen of this, they could have built it much higher, but they would have needed oxygen. So
yeah. Although that plays into my theory.
Right, yeah.
Totally.
Space helmets.
Yeah, no. And so to answer Nick's question, in the Bible, it says that the flood was 15 cubits above the highest peak.
Okay.
Now,
Everest?
if that's Everest, that's 22 and a half feet. If that's Everest, that's over 27,000 feet.
Okay.
But the highest peak in the region is roughly 10,000 feet. So let's see. The Book of Jubilee doesn't hit that. That's 8,000 feet. They're getting close, though.
Yeah.
I'm going to say
4 miles is 20,000 plus.
Yeah, the 4.7 miles. I think we're right about there. So hopefully,
but again, abandoned, and we don't know when it was abandoned.
It just does feel like a tower that size.
Funny that God would let it get that big before he's like, okay, knock it off.
Yeah, like I am fine.
So another fun thing is there are this myth throughout the world.
Yeah.
In the region, but then like literally throughout the world. There's one in fucking Arizona. So
there's a like as in like the native population of Arizona has a.
So let's start with Arizona.
Okay.
So apparently Montezuma escaped a great flood and then became wicked and attempted to build a house reaching to heaven, but the Great Spirit destroyed it with thunderbolts.
Maybe this is just a really good idea when like pre-planes that you just climb high.
Yeah, totally. Let's move to Mexico. When the light and sun first appeared on the land, the giants appeared and set off in search of the sun.
Wait, what?
Fun story. Mm-hmm. Not finding it, they built the Great Pyramid of Cholula. Mm-hmm. Green sauce. It's the best.
That's what they built.
They replaced it though. Now it's like chili lime bullshit. Anyway, an angered god of the heavens called upon inhabitants of the sky who destroyed the tower and scattered its inhabitants. The Toltecs, after a great deluge, erected a tall tower to preserve themselves in the event of a second deluge. However, their languages were confounded, blah, blah, blah.
Wait,
blah.
so the language is a consistent theme?
Except Arizona. But it's like pretty consistent. Let's move back to Samaria. There's a Sumerian myth, Enmerkar, the lord of Arata,
That guy.
building a massive ziggurat.
Yeah.
He demands tribute. And at one point, he implores a god to restore the linguistic unity of the inhabited regions. So there's like a tall tower,
Implied. Yeah.
a language thing. But then the most likely thing is the Tower of Babel was influenced by when the Israelites were in Babylonian captivity, because apparently there was this the Temple of the Seven Lights that had been built like in antiquity,
Like in Babylon?
in Babylon,
Okay.
that Nebuchadnezzar was trying to restore. So the Israelites in Babylon would have like been they'd stopped making it, however long before.
Sure.
So that's where the story could have come from. It was finally destroyed by Alexander the Great when he was trying to rebuild it.
Wait, when Alexander was trying to rebuild it?
Correct. He was moving
broke
it
it?
to another location and then he died and no one cared.
So it just stopped again.
It just stopped.
Sure.
Huh.
So that's kind of where they think it came from.
Wow.
Going a little further, there's a rabbinic literature called the Midrash, which I'm going to have to look into because it sounds rad. The people were saying God has no right to choose the upper world for himself and leave the lower world to us. Therefore, we will build a tower with an idol on top holding a sword, so it may appear as if we intend to war with God.
Oh, yeah.
That seems like tempting fate.
Yeah, that's more of a direct challenge.
Love it. And apparently,
It's like me as a kid, like flipping God
Yep,
off.
there it is.
yep, standing in the field, flipping God off. But from this one,
Adam, you're lucky that God didn't make you speak Italian.
oh, wait.
I'd like that.
Or you're lucky that apparently in this case, 1/3 of the tower builders were punished by being transformed into semi-demonic creatures and banished into 3 parallel dimensions.
Whoa.
Right?
We're like back into fantasy.
There's so many like other Bible books that are so much cooler than the Bible.
Jeez. We get dragons in some. You get like turned into
Demonic creatures in other dimensions.
Wow.
I'm telling you, we got to do it.
Yeah.
So earlier I mentioned, I read at the start of the podcast, we talked about how Adam was saying that the name
Babel.
right? And I mentioned that it was to do with Babylon.
Right.
According to the Bible, the city received the name Babel because the Hebrew word means to jumble or confuse. But the original derivation of the name Babel, also the Hebrew name for Babylon, is uncertain. The native Akkadian name for the city was
they literally just named the city like we can't understand that.
the Hebrew did. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, right.
But I think it's because it was a homonym. Is that the right word? Because
Yeah,
the
it sounds
native
the
Akkadian name was like Babylim, meaning gate of God.
Okay.
So I think they just like used their word that was close, which happened to mean confusion.
Got it.
And they were captives at Babylon.
And it's like a weird like
And there was an unbuilt
dig at the
tower
same time.
there.
Oh, I see.
So I think that's like a sort of pseudo origin.
Do we have like, is the English Babel a derivation of
Yes.
Babel? Okay.
Yes. And then one last thing, bringing in Nimrod, which I'm not sure we mentioned. Nimrod's a character. He's
It's a great name.
So there is a character.
Noah's great grandson.
Okay.
He's one of the few people in like the book of early Genesis who's not like an eponym. Like he's not like a made up person to explain a whole
Something.
nation of people.
Well, he's also like, Nimrod has always been used as like, I grew up as Nimrod being an insult, meaning inept,
Or
but,
a
like,
Green Day album.
Right.
A great album. To what? Well, to 14-year-old me or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I think like the actual definition of Nimrod is like a skilled hunter, like cause he was a pretty impressive figure.
Yeah, like a super warrior.
Like, I don't know how that became, I probably just like, it sounds dim.
So there's a fun story that Flavius Josephus wrote, which is this is not in the Bible. Nimrod and his astrologers foretold the impending birth of Abraham, who would put an end to idolatry. Nimrod therefore ordered the killing of all newborn babies. However, Abraham's mother escapes into the fields and gives birth secretly. So this is the Moses story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moses just like regurgitated his own story for.
Yep. I mean, but this is where, all these stories come from similar origins.
Hold on. Because that Nimrod story isn't in
It's not in the Bible.
So,
but it would have been
known.
Exactly.
So Moses like took the Nimrod story and applied it to himself. I was thinking he meant the other way around, but you were meaning like he
It's like
literally appropriated like this.
Sure.
It's like how Noah is Gilgamesh, which is would have been a super common story in that region.
Yep.
Wow.
So Abraham recognizes God and starts worshiping him. He confronts Nimrod and tells him face to face to cease his idolatry. This is where it gets fun.
Also, wouldn't Nimrod have been like a really old man at that point?
They lived like 900 years.
That's fair.
Nimrod orders him burned at the stake. He has his subjects gather wood for 4 years, so to burn Abraham in the biggest bonfire the world has ever seen.
Wow.
Here we go.
That's how you like deal
We're
with
getting
your...
another story here. When the fire is lit, Abraham walks out unscathed.
What?
Which is like fiery furnace.
Yeah.
Some version, Abraham challenges. Oh, this one's. I forgot about this one. In some versions, Nimrod challenges Abraham to a battle right afterwards. Nimrod appears with an enormous army, and Abraham produces an army of gnats, which destroy his army.
Whoa.
Some accounts have a gnat or mosquito enter Nimrod's brain and drive him out of his mind.
Oh, that's
Jesus.
good.
And that's my Bible fun facts.
Those are some good ass facts.
Yeah, those are good.
There's so much about this.
For such a small little.
Well, so I always I read a couple of source books and then I pull up Wikipedia to see if I missed anything. And holy shit, the Wikipedia on this is so long, and I did not see that coming.
Right.
It's a weird.
And then there's just click.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? Oh, click.
Yeah.
And I'm like reading about Nimrod.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an interesting thing because it as a Bible story, it's actually fairly innocuous because it really doesn't. There's no theology that hangs on this.
This is totally random. And again, it is like an Adam story. I went to religious school, and I feel like I remember there was a Messianic Jew
Yeah.
in my class, which is not the religion of the school I went to.
So a Messianic Jew is somebody who believes that Jesus was the Messiah, but is still practicing Judaism.
Okay.
So it's as if the prophecy has been fulfilled, but you're still practicing the Jewish traditions.
So this is from the playground in third grade. But I'm
Excellent.
pretty sure that this guy said that the Christmas tree is actually Nimrod's dick.
I don't care. That is amazing.
That just popped into my head as I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
I'm more happy about our Christmas tree.
Let's
every
go
year.
chop our own Nimrod dick.
Yeah. And that's why they didn't have trees.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's an affront to God.
Well, I believe
Yeah.
in
I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't want to Google that.
Christmas trees are it's a Constantine issue of pulling in different secular holidays. I believe fertility.
Don't take this from me, Adam.
No, I mean
It's Nimrod's dick.
But who's to say that the original thing isn't for
Well, I think we got our cover art for this episode.
right. I may be wrong. I may be totally wrong, but I believe that it was always implied as a kid that every secular thing that has infiltrated Christian holidays is something about having to do with fertility.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, I've had this argument with your grandmother on more than one occasion on how the only holiday that is not pagan in origin is 4th of July.
Yeah. Or Thanksgiving, political holidays.
Thanksgiving is a harvest holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
Anyway.
Yep.
I mean, I guess you could make an argument for New Year's, but not.
Not really.
Actually, New Year's is
Way
kind
to
of
be
a
your
weird thing.
grandma, Adam.
Right. Shouldn't New Year's be at solstice?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's just a couple, a month off.
That's probably a Catholic thing, or the Gregorian calendar.
Probably.
Paging Evie.
pick a day.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is maybe the shortest story we've done in the entire Bible, and this is not the shortest episode.
No, it's.
Delightful.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I really hope this lands with people because this was fascinating.
I did not see it coming either. Yeah, we were hunting for an episode to do, and I was like, we should do something from the Old Testament.
New Testament.
And they were like, I guess we'll do Babel, but it's really short.
And I really do
And then this.
later on want to find some experts who can fill us in on other similar creation myths from around the world.
We need somebody who has studied tons of non.
Yeah, I'm going to need an expert in the third apocalypse of Baruch
Yeah. I think that's in the Apocrypha.
and the Book of Jubilees.
Does it
I
just
think
bum
those
you
are
guys
Apocrypha
out?
things.
Does it just bum you out that what was it, the third
Apocalypse of Baruch.
is nowhere near as good as it sounds like it is.
It can't be as good as the title.
We don't know.
We
No,
don't know.
you're right. But I mean,
Well,
Let's wrap
I think
this
that'll
shit
do
up.
it for this Zode.
Thanks so much for listening. You can follow us at KJVPod on both Twitter and Instagram to keep up with us. This week, we'd love it if you actually follow us on Twitter. Nick is posting a ton of great stuff, and if you're following us already, you already know that. But if not, come and do it now. At KJVPod is your one-stop shop for funny medieval art, memes, and hot sex. Thanks to Mascaras and Resurrection Records for the use of our theme song, Quixote, off the album El Moran. This week's Resurrection artist is Carved in Bone. You can find links to these songs, to the stickers we have for sale, bios, all sorts of random shit on our website, kingjamesvirgin.com.
Until next week, remember, God is pissed at Charlie Bucket's great glass elevator.
Sonic Bazaar.